Welcome to QLM Business News. And now for today's news stories. British cities implement clean air fines for drivers. A guide to navigate the charges. In the ever-evolving landscape of British driving, road charging has become an enduring aspect, with clean air levies now enforced in several cities across the United Kingdom. These charges, aimed at curbing pollution from older vehicles, are currently operational in London, Birmingham, Bristol, and Glasgow, with Aberdeen, Edinburgh, and Dundee set to launch similar schemes next year. Oxford is also in the midst of a trial for its own clean air initiative. While local authorities are obligated to maintain nitrogen dioxide levels below specific limits, the absence of national standards for charging zones implementation has resulted in varying rules, making navigation challenging, especially as more cities adopt such schemes. Fines for non-compliance can exceed £100, and with most schemes relying on automatic plate recognition cameras, escaping these costs, even if accidental entry occurs, is slim. Here, we outline the existing clean air schemes, identify who needs to pay, and explore ways to avoid these charges altogether. Determining payment obligation. To ascertain whether payment is required, drivers must check their vehicle's Euro emission classification standards, which gauge engine pollution levels. Payment platforms for these schemes typically provide tools to check payment obligations based on the vehicle's registration number. Additionally, the government website offers a registration number checker for this purpose. Clean Air Zones Overview. London Ultra-Low Emission Zone, ULEZ. Expanded to cover Greater London in August, costing £12.50 per day in addition to the £15 congestion charge. Applies 24/7 to non-compliant private cars and motorcycles. Payment can be made up to midnight on the third day post-journey or up to 90 days in advance. Penalties for non-payment. £180, reduced to £90 within 14 days. Bristol Clean Air Zone, CAZ. Operational since November 2022, charging £9 daily. Covers over a square mile in the city centre. Applies to vehicles below Euro 4 for petrol and Euro 6 for diesel. Payment options. Online up to 6 days before, upon entry, or up to 6 days after the journey. Fines for late payment. £120, reduced to £60 within 14 days. Glasgow Low Emission Zone, LEZ. Enforced since June 1, 2023, with an outright ban on older vehicles entering the city centre. Non-compliance fines. £60 immediately, halving if paid within 14 days. Subsequent breaches lead to escalating fines, culminating in a capped fine of £480. Appeal allowed within 28 days of issue. Birmingham Clean Air Zone, CAZ. In operation since June 2021, charging £8 per day for non-compliant cars within the A45/40 Middleway Ring Road. Payment options. Online or by phone, 6 days before, on the day, or 6 days after. Fines for non-payment. £120, reduced to £60 within 14 days. Upcoming clean air zones. Manchester's proposed CAZ was shelved last year, with an alternative plan pending. In Scotland, Edinburgh, Aberdeen, and Dundee are expected to adopt clean air rules from June next year. Oxford is currently testing a zero-emission zone, charging £10 per day for vehicles below standard Euro emission levels. The only scheme to charge ultra-low emissions vehicles using fossil fuels, the daily charge is £4. Fines for non-payment. £60, reduced to £30 within 14 days. Exemptions. Compliant vehicles and electric zero-emission vehicles are exempt from CAZ, LEZ, and ULEZ charges. Exemptions in Birmingham, Bristol, and London include emergency service vehicles, certain medically exempt individuals, travelling showmen, military vehicles, and some classic cars. Disabled drivers' exemptions vary, with London granting temporary ULEZ exemptions until 2027, while Birmingham and Bristol's CAZ allow national exemptions for tax class 85. Blue badge holders generally need to pay for ULEZ and CAZ, except in Scotland, where they may be eligible for one-day and long-term exemptions from LEZ charges. This news story is brought to you by QLM Business News, your digital media channel. Visit qlmbusinessnews.com. For more business news stories, also follow us on Facebook, X, and YouTube. To help QLM Business News bring you more news stories like this, please like, share and subscribe.